Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I hope you had a good day. I hope your night's even better. If it's daytime where you are, I hope your morning is bright. Um, if it's in the middle of the night, go the hell to bed. What the hell are you doing sitting here listening to me jabber on? Get some rest. Take care of yourself. Eat the good cookie. Because you can't take care of anything else if you don't take care of you. So tonight, we went to, now I have never been to Newfoundland. We have friends there. We have so many Canadian friends. But when you get pinpoint to Newfoundland, John Avad has been a guest on this show. And I'm trying to think how many other people I know from that place. It's an amazing, has amazing little pockets of these wonderful villages and these wonderful colored little houses in St. John and all of these other islands that have their own personality. And it's just fantastic. So I put together that video to familiarize, because I had never known. I thought, my gosh, I never put the two together and really thought about, where puffins are and, who's, Kiwi's exclusive to, its habitat and, just all the different things. And sometimes when you focus and you just realize, wow, what a small world after all. Let's all sing. Won't do that to you. Have you ever been on that ride? You get on the ride and it's first two times around, it's okay. The next time you're like, just paddle faster, paddle faster. It's rough getting stuck in there and you can't get out. It's a small world after all. It's over and over. It's like audio torture, So welcome in, everybody. Hey, Vixen Doe. I see you, Ted. How's Connor, our little escape keeper, our little furry friend? Hey, Ron, welcome. Renice, good to see you. Good to see you. Glenn, I saw you pop in here. Did I see Slow? I saw Slow in here. Well, to all our friends, hey, Taylor, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. Welcome from all the Paranormal NL crew and everybody that came in with our guest tonight. Our guest tonight, and sweet Jennnifer, I was on her podcast. Of course, it's the end. I don't want to get it wrong. Paranormal NL podcast, and you can get those links on my page, on the Journey page, on Facebook. You can get them here in the description, as well as Steve. Now I don't know where Steve is, but I'm sure he'll pop in here real soon. He's supposed to be here tonight. Said he'd be here, so he'll probably come in a little later. And I've got a couple other surprises for you. So listen, without further ado, I want to bring Jen in here and just have her tell us a little bit about herself and what she thinks that we need to know tonight, and introduce her to this wonderful chat. Sav, if you're out there, get back in this chat, because we need you in here. And, Vixen and everybody else, all my wonderful mods, thanks for welcoming the newcomers. Thank you so much for hitting the like. And if you haven't subscribed, consider it. It doesn't cost anything. You hit a button, you help the show. It's the easiest way to help out the show. We appreciate it. So get in here. There's Steve. I see Steve. Let's get him in here. If you're ready, Steve, give me a thumbs up, honey. If not, you know me. I can jabber on for a little while longer. Jen, if you're ready, turn your mic on. Let me know, hon. Turn it off and on if you're ready. Oh, okay. Let's get Steve in here. Get in here, you old rattlesnake. So, Steve, let me tell you something. If a Rolling Stone gathers no moss was a person, it would definitely be my friend, Mr. Steve Stockton. And I love him for it. How about you? Get in here, Steve.
Hey, definitely not gathered any moss under my feet.
Papa was a Rolling Stone. Gosh, you know what? There's been so much good music. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. Remember that one? You cut your mic out, sugar. You were perfectly fine. You started fiddling around. Okay, there you go.
I didn't even touch that. I don't know how it cut off. Anyway, yeah, I had a big dinner, laid down, took a nap, and woke up late.
Yeah, well, God bless you for being here.
pork chops with applesauce and
Ooh, pork chops and
onions
applesauce.
and noodles and what else?
Jiminy Christmas.
And I made chocolate chip cookies for dessert.
I'm scared of you, my friend. I'm scared of you. I'll tell you what. You know I love the
Good.
buffalo plaid. Now you tease.
Yep.
You know I can't help myself when I get around that buffalo plaid, especially that large chunk. Oh, I'm telling you what. Look out now. All you got to do now is pick up a hatchet, Steve. That'd be it.
Yeah.
Good old, you know.
Get out there and start chopping
My
some
daddy
wood.
was a lumberjack in Canada. How about that? That's the closest I've ever been to being to going
Sounds
to
like
Canada.
a country song. My daddy was a lumberjack.
Running from the law. And boy, there'd be some verses to that song. I better quit now. Totally unprovoked. Promotional. Dunkin' Donuts official coffee of the Monday night show.
And Dunkin', now that I've got almost 400,000 subs between both channels. I'm ready to wheel and deal, Duncan. Come talk to me.
Show off. Yep, that's it, Duncan. I myself am drinking some apple cinnamon chai tea in a Tigger cup. With a little funny honey.
I think that beats my little cup of Dunkin' here. Dunkin' Midnight with 3 cream and 3 raspberry.
You had me at midnight. You know, I don't know if I could handle
how can you not drink a coffee
unpolluted, straight black, just unpolluted, pure, unadulterated. Hey, Lee, welcome in, Glenn.
Ted Branston's here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve.
Just scrolling through here. I'm not missing anybody on purpose, but if I do, I apologize.
Same here. I'm just going to go ahead and apologize for the entire show ahead of time.
Train rider.
Hi, sweetie. You up the cabin? I hope you are. Did you have that fire for me? Scott said he'd have a fire for me last night.
Elf was here.
Where I asked him.
Dimensional Horse, how you doing? Good to see you.
How y'all doing?
Uncommon Belief, 21, Rod Meeg.
Gang's all here, it seems, Steve.
Taylor Hands watching on Facebook. So you're streaming to Facebook tonight too, huh?
Salvador's here.
Salvador Soto, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Shogo. Good to see you. So here's the thing, Steve. You know, I always get excited when I bring somebody in that
Scott's Life.
That can talk about stuff that I know you know about. Like, do you ever hear the Bell Island boom?
I never have.
And
I don't think so.
I started digging around in it, and I don't recall John
Wilkes Booth
Avad, that he had talked about it either. I can't remember. It had been a few years since I've spoken to him. I got to get back in touch with him. But anyway, I would like to bring Jen in here. She is a podcaster and host of the Paranormal NL podcast. I did her show. She was an absolutely wonderful host. I enjoyed talking to her very much, and it's a pleasure to have her on the show and to introduce her to you, Steve. And I think she's ready. Thumbs up, darling. I think I got a thumbs up. I got proof of life and thumbs up. Hi, sweetie. How you doing?
Hi, how y'all doing?
Welcome.
Hi, Steve.
Hello.
Steve, Jennnifer. This is Jennnifer. This is a chat. Can you see the chat? Can you see? Indeed. You can see the chat rolling. So if there's questions or anything, because I can also pop them up here, which I will do throughout the show, regardless. But can you see it?
Let me see the comments. No, I don't see the. Oh yes, now I can see them.
There you go. There you go.
Jen is on the Paranormal NL team, and I thought I heard that Taylor was in there too.
Yeah, and we've got some, so many wonderful. Yep. Isn't this wonderful? Hi, and welcome. I hope you feel to home, because just get a good seat, and it's comfy cozy here, and anything can happen. I might play the wrong video. I might shut the whole damn thing down and not even realize it and go on and talk for 45 minutes. Anything can happen. So hang on, put your seatbelt. Please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. We're an acquired taste, but we hope you'll at least take a bite of us. How about that? So welcome, Jen. Now listen, tell them what you think the chat should know about you now. Tell us a little bit about where you live and how'd you get involved in the paranormal? What are you doing? What's going on?
So, yeah, I actually live in Flat Rock, and that's part of Newfoundland and Labrador, and it's in Newfoundland over on the Avalon, northeast Avalon, shall we say. And we call the little fingers up on the Avalon. I'm up on the most easterly finger out in the Atlantic. So it's pretty cold up here.
Woo.
But yeah, I came back to Newfoundland. I was doing travel nursing down in the U.S. for about 22 years and came back in
Wow.
2017. And yeah, I started up Paranormal NL only back in season 1, started in 2023. I worked a lot of different night shifts at a lot of different places around the world, and I can tell you some pretty scary things that happened during
We
those
can't wait.
shifts.
We cannot wait. We cannot wait. And also, I wanted to ask you, did you get to see the video we did on New Zealand with the it's just an amazingly beautiful place. And I had some wonderful drone footage of St. John's, the
I
little colored
did. I
houses.
saw the video of Newfoundland and Labrador, and y'all did a really good job with that. Thank you.
I was hoping one time I I did one for Africa and I almost put the wrong animal in there. Somebody had to come by and
Yes.
say, hold on, wait a minute. They don't have those. I had to pull it out, but I made it just in time. So I never
had
know.
the puffin up front and central there, and a lot of other Newfoundland Labrador animals. So that was pretty cool. And if you see on our logo, Robert Dumont actually did our logo, and he was
Beautiful.
on
I've seen it. It's
an
gorgeous.
episode, and yeah, he talked a lot about his stuff. But yeah, I'm really glad to meet y'all and be on your show tonight.
This is
So
great. And yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, is there anything in particular that you wanted to talk about? I see
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
banner that you guys made on the banner, there was a picture on there, and it's funny when you Google that picture, it takes you to a gentleman who I had on my show, and he owns Product of Newfoundland. His name is Robert Hiscock. He's a blogger and he does Strange Truths and Tall Tales. He has his own podcast also. But if you look at that picture, now the creme de la creme person who I had in season 1, that everybody in Newfoundland and Labrador knows, and his name is Dale Jarvis. Now he does the St. John's Haunted Hike. He's also an author and a folklorist. And he's also involved with Heritage NL, but he will tell you that story about that picture when you go on the haunted hike downtown. Now, if you actually jump into it, did you have a chance to look at the story?
A little bit. I wanted to be surprised tonight. I pretty much kind of, knew I had Steve here, and I was gonna learn a little bit tonight because I know you also know a little bit about the Bell Island boom, and I've got a little video that I dug up from I think the early 70s. It's like a little 2-minute video where a lady's describing her experience or something about it. And again, I'm going into this like it's just an amazing learning another world. You know what I mean? Of course, there's John of Odd. I'm sure you know him. And he's been a friend of the show for a long time.
That's Jonathan Mallard. Yes, he has his own
isn't he
podcast,
wonderful?
and he does a really great show. He's got the Odd to Newfoundland Paranormal podcast.
Yes,
and he does a great show, Jonathan Mallard.
Absolutely, he's a wonderful man, and I know he's told me some stories, and I don't know if it's I'm not putting them together or I've just never heard them. They're all amazing, and it's like the colors of the houses. That's why I had to do the drone video, footage and stuff, because it's just like all these pockets, this new world. It's so, when you look at those visuals, it's so full of hope, and it's got a really neat little vibe to it.
Yeah, a lot of that showed some of the St. John's Harbor. That's Jelly Bean Row with all the colors.
Yes,
of course, pretty. You got to see Signal Hill. Some of the boats coming in. You could see the Fort Amherst there in the harbor. You could see the cannons protecting the harbor. When you look at the Paranormal NL logo, some of the things that you'll see on the back banner of that is a World War II soldier on the right, and over on the left, you'll see a lighthouse, and also Bell Island is on there. And one of the reasons why that is on there is because that's one of the haunted most haunted places that people have seen in North America. This place was founded very, very, very long ago in Newfoundland. In fact, we have the Lansing Meadows Viking site here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And that puts us back very, very old settlements.
Very early from what I heard. I was doing a little research on it. And I mean, this actually dates back way before our Jamestown and, you know, things like that. We were trying probably St. Augustine. They were trying down there in Florida at the very tip. You know, that's the oldest really, but we were taught in school that, oh, Jamestown, Williamsburg, this stuff, you know,
no,
just fed all that. You guys are so early.
You gotta look up a dude, he's called Leif Erikson. So
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll see a lot
Exactly.
about him. But now in that picture, I guess I'd like not to spoil that for Dale. I mean that's his baby.
Can you give us a little overview for now? All I really know about this is this was the cathedral. Somebody took this shot, and supposedly the one all the way to the, let's see, it's going to be my left, and I guess everybody else is right. That translucent looking figure there is supposed to be a ghost. Do I have that correct?
Yes, that's correct. They do say that during the building of the cathedral, that one of the workers died, but at the end of the job, when the worker stood outside the cathedral for a photo, he showed up anyway. And the picture of the worker supposedly contains an image of the deceased gentleman. And more than 150 years later, the image at the cathedral with the ghost continues to capture imaginations, of course. But there's more to the story here. It's called the Anglican Cathedral in St. John's, and that's the parish of St. John the Baptist here.
Wow,
and,
yeah.
That was established in 1699. That tells you
and that's how old, right? And it's still standing. Is that still standing?
Oh, indeed it is. Yes,
there you go. And that's something, Steve. Steve loves stuff like that. I didn't. I don't know if you're familiar with Steve, but he is a keeper of stories and a teller of tales, and he does the collecting, you know, for Appalachian, the mountains, and trying to keep all those stories alive. And it's so cool on this show to be able to bring people to these different pockets of civilization and get to visit and learn about, you know, these places. And it also makes you feel like you're, you know, it is a small world, you know, especially.
Well, we definitely got a lot of pockets of different things here.
Well, you go ahead and tell us one of your experiences or whatever, or one of your favorite, whatever you feel is
about the Bell Island boom. Now that happened over on Bell Island, and that actually made international news. There was a huge boom there that actually shook the entire island, and not only the island, but the adjacent places to it. Now, there are several different theories, and you can hear those theories on season 2 with Henry Crane. Now, Henry works with Bell Island in tourism, but he has been there a long time and still lives there and knows some of the actual people who were interviewed. Now, you can, if you Google this, you're going to see William Shatner. He's got a full-on episode of the Bell Island boom on his
that show. Weird, that I forget what it's called. Steve, do you recall? A weird world, or
I can't think of it right off.
Shatner one,
it's called Weird or What or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different theories on it. You know, some people say, oh, it was the mines that were underground that collapsed, and that's what caused the boom. Oh, a lot of people think that, of course, this was during the Cold War, and they think that there was some type of new war thing that was used on us. But this boom shook the island so much that even, you know, those old-fashioned, Steve, you're going to know this now, the things that when you go to your breaker switch, remember the old-fashioned ones? They were kind of like glass.
Yeah, the fuses.
Fuses, yeah. They actually popped out of the wall and embedded across into other walls.
Wow.
There was.
It took some force to spark those out of there.
Oh, and
Right,
there was a
right.
lot of other weird things like dead animals who were there, people who got burned, and a really weird haze that was there for days.
What year was
And
this, Jen?
oh gosh, I'm gonna have to go back to my notes and look
That's
on
all right.
that. But
I'll tell you
somewhere,
what, I did pull. I can share this. I think everybody would benefit from seeing this. I think this is in the early 70s, but I think it says so in the video.
April
It's an old
2nd,
news clip.
1978. I just Googled it here.
78. Say it
Yeah.
yeah,
again, Steve.
April 2nd, 1978.
Let me
there
see
you
if I
go.
can set this one up correct. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, no, that's
Ooh,
definitely the year. Fontebello Island Boom. Yeah, and not only do they have that there, but Bell Island has all kinds of weirdness there. They also have they are known to have what's called the Fairy Queen. And we do have, because of where we live, a lot of Irish influence and English influence. A lot of people came from Ireland and England. And of course, fairies for us are not happy fairies, they're very evil fairies.
ah,
Uh, and they talk about the fairy queen, and the miners talk about them. I know when I talked to a gentleman over in the UK, I believe he mentioned some of the ones over there called Tommy knockers and other kinds of different fairies.
ooh,
But
Tommy knockers knocking on your. What's that one, Steve? Do you recall that? That kind of
Uh,
like a limerick, isn't it?
yeah, but I can't
Tommy knockers.
remember the phrasing to
Tommy
it. But
I
knockers
bet you
knocking on your
somebody in
door.
the chat. Yeah, I bet you
yeah,
somebody in the chat knows.
Bell Island's been called Canada's X-Files Island because there's so much weird activity there.
Yes,
Yep.
actually, I did an episode with Mike Hickey. I don't know if you were able to listen to that one. That was in season 1 now. We've had people from all over the world, really, film crews go there. T+E was there, and also Red Earth Uncovered was there, and they were looking at the World War II. We actually had a German Nazi U-boat blow up and sink our iron ore ships because, of course, Hitler didn't want us to give away our iron ore to make those things for them. And we actually have in the museum there something from one of the U-boat captains who sunk one of our ships, and actually an actual letter from Hitler himself there. Uh, During that time, of course, back in World War II, when those ships went down and were sank, and some of the survivors and the people who were killed were pulled into different homes, and those homes still stand there. And the families, of course, still live there. The descendants of them, they went in and did an investigation into some of those homes. And Mike, when he was there, he said he felt something touch him on the back.
Mm,
Uh, and now these two people who were there from T+E, History is Most Haunted. I don't know if you've
yeah.
ever watched that or not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they did have some mediums there, and they also went down into the mines and did some paranormal investigations down in the mines. And they discovered a lot of activity down there. Those mines in the area where they were right now, that collar is actually closed off and you cannot go in there. So that would be very interesting to do more research down in the mines.
I can
I
imagine.
also had another gentleman on there from Ocean Quest, John Oliveira from Ocean Quest Adventures. And they talked about they take people diving down to the wrecks. And they
That'd
also
be so
dive,
eerie.
yeah, inside the
That would be
mine.
eerie. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
can
they do
imagine. Ooh,
the mine tours there, but it is there's a lot of stories from people all over the island. Now that's just the mines. That doesn't include other parts of the island where there's other things like there's the white woman over in Dobbin's Garden, and she's actually physically hurt people and had even in the records,
oh
I
wow,
want to
Dan.
say back in the hospital, there were records where people were actually physically harmed from this entity.
Mm,
There were some other stories. You had to listen to Henry's part 1 and 2 episodes in season 1 to get.
We're
all
trying
the
to get him on the show. We're going to get
information.
him on the show in the future, folks, so we can hear more about it. Because you said he's what? He's involved in the historical society there in Bell Island, or
He's
what was it?
involved in the tourism aspect of Bell
Okay,
Island, and he's also involved with Radio Bell Island there. So yes, he knows a lot of the people there, and have dealt with a lot of the film crews who's been there. Red Earth Uncovered should be having their series coming out soon on Bell Island, and yeah, there's a lot of stories from there, and that's what really inspired me to start Paranormal NL, was portions of that and other things in and around St. John's, where I grew up, and Mount Pearl, and some of the experiences that I've had. Some of them I cannot share because I still work with, I still am a practicing nurse here.
hmm
So I can't really get into details what hospitals or what company.
right.
I wish I could, but I can't do that right now. We do have, or I have, some people on there. Dan, I don't know if you're on there, if you want to chime in and share some of your experiences at some of
Sure,
the
sure, sure.
facilities.
Please do. He says, I don't know if you got to see it here, but Dan said he was itching to do that dive himself, and he was aiming for this summer. So you'll have to come back on and let us know, Dan, how that worked out for you. There's no way you could
Now,
even.
Dan
I
is
mean,
one of
my
our,
sons do the what do you call it, Steve? Spelunking? When you go into the
Spelunking, yeah.
cave,
yeah.
spelunking,
Cave
and they're just
exploration, yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
I'm hearing conversations of them talking about going into these things where it's so tight that you have to get down real low. That's where I got the stuff for Cabin 22 with Jacob going in that tunnel, because they're talking about going through, you only have to go through so far and then it opens up. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I
You
do
can
that.
dive in the
No
mine
way.
too with
No.
Ocean
Mm-mm.
Quest.
No,
I'm
no,
too
no,
If you
no,
burly
no.
to
want
be
to do
crawling through
No,
a cave.
no.
that'd be.
If I can't walk through it, I don't go.
Yeah.
You can walk down in the caves too, shall we say?
There you go.
Yes. Yeah.
So
So
I'm taking it that everybody here that's jumping in that you brought with is from Newfoundland, right? So they're close by and they can do these things. I think it's wonderful. Like I said, I've never been there. Steve, have you ever been?
No, I've
Can you
never
see it
been.
from where you are? You're up there.
Probably
You're
if
up
I get
that
on
way,
top
aren't
of
you?
my house, I'm up in New England. But I
You get on
met
his roof. Can you see it?
when I lived in Las Vegas. I met some of the most wonderful people from Newfoundland, and we were playing poker together at the Hilton International, and they were telling me a lot of stories there, like the Bell Island Hag and stuff like that. Because
yes,
I've
actually,
always had the paranormal interest. I
I
asked
love
if
that
they'd done the ghost
that
story, but
you mentioned that, Steve. Have you watched our miniseries from Grind Mind? They
no,
produced.
I
It's
haven't seen
called
it, but
A Newfoundland Nightmare: The Hag, and
I'd
it's a
like to see that.
miniseries.
And
Yeah, Shane Mills
just
was
want to point
actually
out that
on.
it's one of the only paranormal entities I know of that's been featured on a post stamp. Canada Post had it on a stamp there, so it's well
It
known.
was. And you know what, Steve? People who are not from Newfoundland and Labrador who have actually visited here have suffered the same thing when they came here, the hag, which is sleep
Interesting.
paralysis. And they
Mhm.
detail that a lot in the show. I also interviewed or had on in season 1 Dr. Holly Everett. She's from Mun Folklore, and she talks a little bit about that. I'm trying to get Dr.
Taylor, I'm wide
whatever.
open, honey. I'm telling you what. Look, I'm here in New Jersey,
Hi,
and
Taylor.
you don't know, you don't know how to hard I'm taking that, especially after making that video. I've been working on Newfoundland all day. I've been putting together that video because, again, I do this all the time when we're going to go someplace. Don't I, Steve? Steve will tell you.
Yeah.
I'm batshit crazy. So I'll go in and I'll dig in. I want to know the animals. I want to know, what's the climate like? What's going on? What are the people like? And I love it when I can find that old news footage where it shows it back like a couple of decades ago, like in the 60s or 70s, and how
Well,
it's, and plus the colors come alive,
yeah,
especially going through, like you said, it was Jelly Bean Row.
Jelly Bean Row. Yeah, I like that
It
you
was
mentioned
beautiful.
animals because if you look
Yeah.
again at the logo, it has a kraken on there.
Yes, I
very,
saw. I noticed that it was
yes,
very. It had that H.P. Lovecraft kind of look, didn't it, Steve?
Yeah.
That
yeah,
logo. I love your logo, and I love
and
the artist. I
then
following him on Facebook. You want to say
yes,
the name of the artist who did it? He's
that
wonderful.
was Robert Dumont. He's a really
There you
good
go.
artist, and he also does a lot of other things paranormally. But
Wonderful.
with that logo, with the Kraken, the reason why I put that on there is cryptids. Because when people think about paranormal, they don't often think about cryptids. And we're known for one of the largest giant squid populations in the world. We have one on display over at the Rooms Museum. Now I'm going to have the Rooms Museum come on soon and talk more about different things that they have in the vault that people may not have ever seen down there. I'm sure there's a lot of other cool stuff in there, but that's one of the things that we have on display. So we are rich in a lot of not only ghostly paranormal stuff, but cryptid stuff.
Wonderful. I just love it. I just love learning about new places. And again, you know, when you get to know me, and you will, because you're a friend of the show now, and you're going to come back, and I would love to have you and John on together, John of Odd. And
Yeah,
it's time for him to get back on the show. And I'm so glad you got with Rob Guttrow. She had Rob Guttrow. She said, think somebody off the top of your head, you know, come on my show. And I said, just get Rob if you haven't, because he's a wonderful animal communicator and a wonderful medium, and
he
just a
is. He's excellent.
wonderful, he's an absolute light in the world. And we're big on that. You know, we study the paranormal, and we'll get into some, you know, we'll get into the dark stuff. We don't mind. We carry our light with us. But man, I'll tell you what, we never get tired of hearing ghost stories. So
Well,
what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out and I'm see if I can play this video, because it is from 1978. I think it was very close to when the actual boom happened, which is cool because you can get it like when it's fresh. I guess you can say
okay.
that, right?
Yes.
And this young lady is going to tell her tale about what happened to her and what happened to the town. And as you said, I think what got me, Steve, was the socket, the fuses popping out of the walls, and that's such force, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's
Those
only
things
And
you had to
not
kind of
even the
screw them
half
in
of it.
there. Now, some people would put a penny behind them, so in case the fuse went out, it still worked.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that was
yeah.
dangerous. But for it to pop out and go into the wall on the other side, that's some force.
Oh, and
I
a lot
think
of other stuff happened too, if you listen to the episode.
Well, let's see here what she tells us about it. If it's coming through. Chat, tell me if it's coming through 5x5, darlings. Okay.
Bell Island,
I can
Newfoundland,
hear it.
on the edge of the Atlantic. A
5x5,
uniquely
Steve.
quiet place until
Yep.
one Sunday morning in April 1978. As people made their way to church, a colossal bolt of energy shot straight out of the sky, blasting the peaceful island.
That's right up your dark little alley, ain't it, Steve?
Barbara
Oh,
McKay
yeah, I love it.
bolt from her house in Conception Bay, 20 kilometers from Bell Island.
We heard this terrific, loud bang, boom noise. The house shook. The dishes rattled in the cupboards. We ran to the living room window and looked out in time to see an oval-shaped object that was moving very, very quickly, and it just seemed to leave a bit of a trail behind. It was quite loud, quite deafening. There was no wobbly movement or anything. No, it was just a trajectory that was heading toward, as we thought at the time, the ocean, but subsequently it did land on the island. Yeah.
The bizarre beam was seen by dozens as it exploded onto the property of Jim and Susie Beckford, shattering the solemn Sunday morning. Television sets exploded, fuses shot out of the walls, balls of fire tore through houses.
Yes, I was on the island, April 2nd, 1978.
Steve Parsley, neighbour and son-in-law of the Beckfords, had just left the barn when the bolt struck.
When we looked there through the door and seen, you know, all we could see was dust and ore dust, everything else gone. You know, it was where all the shed blowed up, so it's in the barn blowed up. But it's an awful blast.
Satellites registered light emissions equivalent to those of a 10-megaton blast, making it one of the biggest emissions in history. Scanners also picked up the 10-megaton blast. The Prime Minister was alerted, and Fire Inspector Jim Farrell dispatched.
as soon as I saw the fuses and the embedment in the wall, I knew I had something here that was different. I was amazed. The barn was in shambles. Chickens and hens were dead.
Oh my goodness.
When I saw electricity after, or the supercharge after attacking the nails in the floor. When I went outside, I noticed the wires, the insulation just dripping off the wires.
Wow.
I showed Mr. Beckford. He was amazed. He said, "My God, what was it?" And I said, "Boy, I don't know."
Well, now.
Yeah, there's a lot more to the story. The U.S. was involved. They came here with their hazmat suits on and cordoned off all the areas and used galvanized milk containers and took an object away. Now,
Well, I hate to say it, darling, but that was your first mistake letting us in there. Because by golly, I'll tell you what. No, we're the U.S. We're here to help. Just for at least for time being, tap the brakes on that.
there was another man apparently who was in the woods on a horse, and his silver belt buckle disintegrated. Lots of like really weird other stuff that happened. Now, the fire inspector, they when they went over there was an impact. There was round holes in the ground, but it wasn't burnt or anything like that. And they really didn't think that it was any kind of asteroid or anything like that. They couldn't figure out exactly what it was. Now, there was a man who was on his bike, and one side of his face was burned with a rash. But now, apparently, where this happened, it happened 1.5 miles away over on the Scotia side. It felt like a bomb. And this island is made out of iron ore. And for it to shake that much being made out of iron ore, it had to be something pretty big.
That's incredible. I mean, Steve, what do you think? I mean, what a story, huh?
Yeah, it's totally fascinating. And to this day, as far as I know, they have no idea what it was. There's been conjecture that it was some kind of EMP in the days before that was a thing,
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know if
lots
it
of
was an
different
attack or something from space or
Hey, Trusty.
both.
Yeah, lots of different theories on it for sure.
Wow, that's incredible. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Jen. I hope you're not offended. Bacon, you're getting slung a lot of bacon in here in the chat, and the bacon is love on this channel. It just means that they love you. That you're agreeing with what they're saying. I think Steve at one time that almost posed a problem on your live chat when my folks went over there to support you and started slinging bacon at the wrong time.
That's funny.
It was
I
when
look a
we
little bit
visit.
different than what I did when I was younger. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all stay young?
I mean, goodness, right?
I had a couple of guys in from Sound the Shofar Messianic Ministries and their Observer Kosher diet, and they thought the bacon was an insult.
We did not mean to. We did not mean to offend. I assure you.
Oh, that's funny.
My chat is very well behaved. They are a group of absolute. We call them they pick gatekeepers because we took Journey Through the Gate, and we're right. This whole life is a journey, and the studying paranormal and ghosts and things like that, and even true crime. This is such a delight. Steve and I, he has been a participant in my series. Sometimes I got to do true crime to cleanse my palate of the paranormal. Then I come back into the paranormal again. Do you ever do that? I don't know whether you ever look into conspiracies and all that, but it's just discernment, mysteries, just all of that. It's just so intriguing.
Yeah, I actually had an author on here, Helen C. Escott. She wrote a series of books. One of them were Operation Masonic, based on Newfoundland. And, they're actually, while this Masonic building that we're talking about, it was actually sold, and now it's under the hands of somebody else. And non-Masonic people, they say they found a hidden passageway down there. So that was kind of interesting to hear about. But
wow, Steve, kind of sounded a little like the Shanghai tunnels.
Indeed.
Steve,
And,
Steve used
Linda,
to live near the, well, not near the
I was
tunnel,
in
but
Portland, Oregon. Yeah, it was downtown. I lived across the river from downtown, but I've seen those Shanghai tunnels. Those are something else. Glenn Dennison had a comment there.
let me find it.
Isn't Newfoundland where horses are found with their manes braided and nobody knows what's doing it?
Have you ever heard of that one, sweetie?
I have heard of that. We do have special ponies here in Newfoundland and Labrador that you don't find other places. They're very tiny horses. And
Oh,
there's an island.
how did I miss those?
Yeah,
I
they're
got
really
so
cute.
caught up in the puffins I couldn't, and then I hit the otters, and that was it. I was goner.
I
You
love
know.
They're
those
really
puffins.
cute.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
funny
so
looking.
cute.
They
If
look
you
like
guys did,
they need a haircut all the time. They're really funny looking.
but is there something like that? Is there a legend or something where the horses are
I've
getting their hair braided by the, the
It sounds like
your
Fae
version of
activity.
little people? Yeah, the
Sounds like
fae or
something the
the
fairy would
fairies. That's
do.
the
Yeah.
fairies doing it. Yeah.
yeah.
I also had another lady on, Sasha. She talks a lot about MUFON and the military here
Ah,
in Newfoundland and Labrador. She's part of the MUFON branch here. But now Dan and Taylor on there, they're part of the BOG, or the Boots on the Ground paranormal team that I'm
okay.
putting together. And we're going to start doing some more actual paranormal investigation, boots on the ground type work. We're still in the works doing it and haven't actually launched or aired any of it yet, but that's all still in the works. But there's so many other things here in Newfoundland and Labrador that we can talk about.
Absolutely. The microphone is yours, darling. Take us away.
Well, we are other people and things that we've talked about are some of the graveyards. I mean, John himself, I'm sure you've read his books, all the EVPs and things that he captured at a lot of those graveyards. Now, when I'm thinking about Newfoundland and Labrador, there's so many different things. I'm trying to think about which one I should focus on to talk about.
Whichever one you
Besides,
choose, at your leisure, at your leisure.
besides the ones that we already did. Um, Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Mummers here, or the Mummering Festival. A lot of people,
I have not. Steve, have you?
I have.
yeah,
Have
yeah,
you? Oh my
yeah,
goodness. See, go, please tell us.
yeah. That's another thing that people do here during Christmas, and it's quite a popular thing. People kind of dress up, and you got to guess who they are. And um, but history-wise, when it goes back. Um, there were a lot of folklore and music and things and traditions written around it. So a lot of our traditions and culture again go back deep to the Irish roots. That's why a lot of times you'll see with Paranormal NL we've got
It feels like it. It does. It
yeah.
feels like it. Yeah. The Irish roots. Is that the like the underlying flavor of Newfoundland and Labrador and
Oh, for sure. Very, very
okay.
Irish place.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that's why I'm getting a lot of in the chat about it reminds them of Scotland, reminds them of Ireland. It has
Yeah.
that flavor. Steve, did you pick that up too?
Yeah. And Lorena McKinnon, she's Canadian. I think she's from Manitoba, though. She's got a song called The Mummers Dance. It's kind of a very Celtic sounding thing, very mysterious. That's
Yes.
where I first heard of the Mummers.
You're in the right place, Rhonda.
Lorraine McKenna. Yeah, we do have a lot of ghosts all over the place here, and the majority of them, of course, a lot of people say are downtown St. John's. But you know what? There's a lot of abandoned towns and whole cities all over Newfoundland and Labrador that were resettled. So Dale Jarvis, I don't know if you've read any of his books. There's Haunted Shores, there's Haunted Waters. Now he's doing Haunted Homes. And John, who you were talking about before, I mean, he's investigated a lot of houses. And I've talked to other people, just random people, who came on and gave their stories. Some of them anonymous, some of them not anonymous. And there's ghosts everywhere.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I mean, if you're just starting, it's very interesting that you're just starting to boots on the ground. I know you said that some of the gentlemen
Yeah.
in the chat we're doing it now, and you guys are getting it together. It's very interesting. I'd love to hear going in well, not new, I'm sure everybody has experience, but starting a new group doing that, what is your focus? What are you guys looking for? Are you going to look for homes to help, maybe if there's an issue there, or are you going to go to different places just to investigate historical places and things like that? Where are you guys
I
focusing?
really want to focus on the historical aspects of it, because with Paranormal NL, I really like to focus on supporting local. But now, with having said that, we reach out internationally all over the place, hearing other stories and their accounts of events and kind of comparing them. I know that when I talked to the person in the UK, they were amazed that, we do and have a lot of the similar ghosts and things like that over there.
Hmm.
And then,
Interesting. Now, are you guys who is I have a reason I'm asking this, and you're kind of new to my show, so I'm not like trying to trap you or quarter you. I'm basically trying to sort, how is the group put together? Do you have a tech? Do you have a medium? Do you have someone who's a historian and a researcher? Is it structured that way, or is it people that trust each other getting together? We just got done with Elliot Ness. I don't know if you're familiar, if that's Untouchables has carried across the waters. But Elliot Ness, we just took, I don't know what, like 5 episodes. We dug so deep into this man. He had incredible life. But, finding new things and studying the paranormal also mixes in with, like, when I was saying earlier about mysteries and true crime and discernment and cracking the code kind of thing. That's what's so interesting, and I'm always interested to see how groups are structured. Some are very
well, we have,
militaristic.
well, I guess you could say that I do have a military history working with the VA,
Yeah.
and I like to kind of organize things that way. But I tend to do a lot of the historical research amongst other people. Um, and we have different types of people with different types of abilities. One person has
Dan says
mediumship.
he's a tech guy.
Jen's tech. Taylor has a lot of equipment. Jen, I don't know if you're
Taylor
on there.
says he's the median too.
Yes, he is. And
Oh, wonderful. Love to
yeah,
have you on,
and we
babe.
have Jay too. I don't think she's on there tonight. But yeah, so that's what we have so far.
Wonderful.
But we have certain historical events that we're trying to debunk, certain historical ghosts we're trying to debunk, and adding in some major historical things that we have yet to delve into, but we can't wait to. We don't really want to talk about that much. But
Right.
and we don't want to talk about the topic of the ghosts who we're talking about, because we are still in the middle of our investigation.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I can understand that. But here's the reason I asked. I'm just, if you hadn't picked up or not, I'm kind of opinionated. I'm old broad. And I just, we're here on this show, and we're not here like to say to prove Bigfoot exists or to prove ghosts exist or prove that UFOs have happened and these things have happened. We kind of just there. We're like, just all of this stuff exists, and we're wide open to it. And also the fact that I was thinking about the flavor and the feel and the vibe I got from looking into this beautiful country and the pockets of people and village type atmosphere, and that feel you kind of get from each one, like I said, has its own little extra flavor. It's like,
It does.
but you think the people and that flavor you get from that deep, rich Irish, Scottish feel everybody's picking up. I figured you guys would have no problem talking about having sensitives or
Oh, I've had
mediums or
sensitives on the
anything
show.
included in the group,
Oh,
which
for
is
sure.
where over here everything was only science,
Oh
debunking
no.
and evidence, and on all of our paranormal TV shows. You get what I'm trying to say? You pick up what I
Yeah,
mean, right,
I do.
Steve?
Yeah.
And I thought
I
that
think
you guys probably
that
didn't go that route. You know, everything is just accepted, very much like Native American community. I'm Native American. So it's like that kind of feel to me. Am I on the
I
right
guess
path
you
with
can
that?
call me the scientist. When you're looking at X-Files, you know, you've got a believer, I want a believer, and then you've got the other scientist. I can be part of both sides.
Yep.
I'm a scientist who believes, but likes
Very
to
cool.
figure out things and debunk things. Like, for example, Rhonda, I don't know if you're on there tonight. Hello. She posted a video that happened to her this morning at work. I don't know if you
Wow.
could pull that up and look at it, but you know, that's just a little example of things we like to figure out. I mean, you know, I mean, you
Thank
get
you. Love
videos
to have you.
and yeah,
Yeah,
but
they're over here on the side talking about coming on the show. Is absolutely, absolutely. You know,
oh,
and I'll tell you what, to make it easier, guys, just friend me, look for Cisco Murdoch on Facebook. I see a lot of you coming in from Facebook. Hit me there, and then we'll be able to message her, and we'll get a whole thing, and we can talk about experiences that you've had. You can share stuff on the show from stuff you are, you know, ready to share from investigations and stuff like that. We'd love to, because here's the thing. That's what I was saying. We're gathering data. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. We're trying to figure out how to communicate with the ghosts. We're trying to figure how are we
yeah,
dealing with this human being, if it is an intelligent haunting,
right,
and they
right,
are willing to communicate in whatever way, that we're there ready for all of those things, you know, with the capability of it to really sort it out. Because I'm one of those people that go in the middle of the battlefield in Gettysburg or whatever and just go, okay, let's go. Who's ready? Who wants
yeah,
to talk? Let's go. We're kind of, you know, that kind of thing. And then like almost like a triage. Do you feel what I'm
right,
saying? The ones
yes,
that are ready to listen and ready to go, we usually take some of the other ones with, or, you know, try to help you sort that one. It's like therapy, you know, because what kind of person you're dealing with, very much, I'm sure you can understand too. It's like, what type of patient am I dealing with? Where's their mental state? What's their vantage point? Where are they coming from? You know, what is their ailment? And you kind of do that with ghosts too. And
oh, for
once you
sure,
do that, and you get to that point where it's just like, you know, I'm with my guides, I'm using my abilities, I'm with a great team. And that's also why I brought up Elliot Ness, because he was so on that when he was doing the Untouchables. He would not go after Capone and all this deep organized crime without a trusted group of, you know, of people with him to go
right,
in, very much like a military squad. You know,
right,
you have a
yes,
well-trained 6 guys
yeah,
that go in
yeah.
and kick
You
the
want to
doors
have
in.
somebody who got your
Yeah.
six, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm
Yeah,
ex-military. That's why it comes off that way. I'm ex-army.
yeah. And
So
again, thank you for your service.
just doing my job was my pleasure.
Yeah,
But, you know, that's the thing though. I was so interested in hearing that. And I thought, you know, no doubt in my mind, you know, that it's so much easier in that community and that culture and that vibe that I'm picking up from Newfoundland, you know, and I picked it up from John before, and, you know, Kat Ward and our Canadian friends and things like that. But it's
yes.
so funny once
Kat's
you jump
coming
the
on the
water.
show soon.
Yeah.
I was on her shows, and I'm really looking forward to having her on ours. She's based out of Ontario, Kat Ward, with her Paranormal
Hmm.
Heart podcast. But I really like the aspect also of mediumship and having mediums there. They are very important. Some people don't believe, some people do, but they can provide a really rich insight into things once, especially if you have a sensitive one there who can pick up on things. Now, when you talk about things like that, we've also had on the show people who've done CE5 events. Um, I don't know if you know.
I don't, but tell us what that is. Tell me, because I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
Okay, well, CE is a close encounter, and
Oh,
close
okay.
encounter of the fifth kind is CE5.
Oh, wow.
Now,
Okay.
um, and that's
Steve,
based
that's up your
on,
alley too.
well, that's based on Stephen Greer, UFOologist. Um, now, Reverend Leah Walters was on the show in season 1, episode 10 with Betty Collins, and they talked about that. But now I'm having another lady coming on the show soon. She was actually has a book about, I want to say, an abduction. I haven't had her on the show yet. She's coming on soon. Um, And that's going to be really interesting. Have you guys dealt much with any CE5 events?
Not really.
Steve is a little bit more in that he's my cryptid lore, you know, all those kind of things. Steve will tell you all about Spearfinger and Chupacabra and
Okay.
you know, and things like that. Now I've seen a Bigfoot, or at least what we kind of have landed on. Haven't we kind of just, we're comfortable saying it was a little Bigfoot, aren't we, Steve? I mean,
Yeah.
after all this time.
Yeah, I
And
think it was a baby foot that was lost
a
from
baby
its
foot.
mama.
A little baby foot. But he was a little. I mean, he didn't much come over the roof of my car, and I was driving an Escort at the time, but he came out of the cornfield. And the thing about it, Jen, is Steve and I had talked about this before. We had many guests on that, you know, like Brian Bowden and other people that and Al Salvatore, just all these different people.
I was just going to mention Brian Bowden. Yeah.
Yeah, he's terrific.
He's really good.
We're starting to understand that everything, all these creatures, most of them are telepathic, just like ghosts. And, you know, people are really picking up strong vibes off of them. And I experienced that when I was driving in the car. I could actually feel something was happening. So you can liken it to, you're driving a car and you feel like something's going to dash in front of you. You're extra, you know, you're 10 and 2. You're getting a little white knuckle. You're looking a little bit more careful in front of the car. You just have a feeling. You'd call it intuition, whatever. And that's what I was getting. Then it quickly changed to this, almost this, I want to say, I don't want to say as much of a weight, but it was a definite pressure on my chest. And I started to get this overwhelming feeling of, the only best word I can say is melancholia. Okay. And then this fear of, I'm lost, I'm this, you know, that kind of, and then just like left behind. I can't really explain it, like a lost puppy or a lost kid. Yeah. And you sensed it. My son sensed it. He was sitting in the car with. So as we're going by, I see him. We kind of almost, you know, locked eyes, just, you know, a little bit. And then the mom instinct kicked in and I took off because that overrode everything. But the thing is that happened to me, I want to say 15, 16 years ago, maybe even as much as 17 now. But you can still take yourself back to it. Have you ever come across anything like that has just impacted you so much that you could, just talking about it, you could take you back? Was there a story that happened to you, or a personal experience, whether it be even the ghost of a puffin, maybe?
Well, when I think about the experiences that I had on the several night shifts, some of them were benevolent, others were not. Scary, a lot of different scary things. But yeah, I mean, going back to the sensitive stuff, I mean, I really think that it's really important to have somebody like that on your team. For example, we had Katie Turner was on there.
Oh, I love Katie.
Yeah, she was really good. And Steve, you probably know Ron Murphy too, do you, besides Brian?
Yeah, Ron too. Yeah. All part of our family. And it's great. Like I said, you know, I'd sit here and say, you know, Rob Guttrow and Claire Broad and just all these, and Al, all that. Al's got, have Al tell you about the, is it the Son of Sam, Steve? Out there in New York.
What's that?
The Son of Sam, the one was talking to the dog.
Yeah.
It was killing out there in New York.
Just outside New York City. Yeah.
I think it was that one. That's the one they started bringing in. There was a little ripples of Satan worship and all kind of mess like that. Satanists, you know, people in robes doing things.
Yeah.
Have Al tell you the story about him. He was a postman in that area at the time it happened. So there was a lot of stuff going on with.
Worked for the post office too. He was a postal employee.
Who was, honey?
David Berkowitz.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Killer, yeah.
And he, you know, I don't want to tell Al's story, but I'll give you a brief overview. Because he was in the postal unit and in New York City, there's all kind of this borough stuff going down. You know, it's like these little zones of, you know, what's your turf and what isn't when it comes to the postal service. And there's a lot of shifting going on, just like it would be in a hospital or anything else. They're pulling all these like crazy hours, and there's all kind of problems with the, being able to cover shifts and things. There's all kinds of nutsy stuff going on. Well, meanwhile, he's getting the gist of what's going on from their vantage point of how all these killings are going down. And he's seeing it from that view. And the people that delivered mail to these buildings that, what's his name again, Steve?
David Berkowitz.
Berkowitz.
Uh,
Where he lived, he's seeing things happen in this
wow.
apartment building or a hotel. It was one of those weird New York things where it was kind of a business, but it was also people live there forever kind of thing, because it goes up so high into all these apartments and stuff. And he's seeing it from the inside of having to deliver mail to different offices. So he's got an amazing, a real wowzer of a story coming down from that. He really got some inside view
Yeah,
on some of the crazy things.
He does some really good work for sure.
Mm-hmm,
Now,
mm-hmm.
I've had some other people on the show, who delve into a lot of other different things, and I've got one coming up soon. They talk about the stigma of the light versus the dark work and things like that. When you talk about mediumship, it's kind of hard not to talk about that, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and I mean the thing is too is it's exactly that. The thing is if you look at the work of so many different cultures that would have someone like a medicine man or woman or a shaman, you must walk in the darkness. I mean, people ask it, the whole theme of my show, basically, if it has a theme, other than batshit crazy and Hot Mess Express, is that this is a journey, and we're trying to learn, like I said, about ghosts and things like that, and things that interest us. A lot of people have in the back shelf there is like, they don't want it to happen to them, and they don't want it to happen to somebody they love. When they go at it at that thing and really get a reality check on it, these are human beings that for whatever reason are stuck in their own world, in their own whatever they've manifested, their own little self-made cage. Is it, I'm talking about, again, the ones that are conscious, not just a residual or a stone tape theory or a replay or a time slip or a warp or portal or whatever, a bleed over, those things, those you get, and you can go crazy. You could just, and why not? All of it can be possible, right? But learning about these things for whatever we're focused on. Like I said, mine is, if I can get somebody to cross over who was once in torment of whatever, how great is that?
Yeah, I like the real historical part about it, who they were, like why
Yes.
are they still haunting there? What's the history of where they are? Like why are they still there, and what you can do to maybe help them. And some of it steeps really deep into the culture. There's so many aspects of Newfoundland and Labrador. I haven't touched at all, hardly on Labrador. Now, when I talked to
Give
our
it,
meteorologist, Eddie Steer, I talked a little bit about Labrador and the cold weather, but they have a big indigenous history and culture there. And when you look at Red Earth Uncovered, that's a Canadian show. I don't think you can get it in the US, because I believe that Brian Bodum was on there and he wasn't able to watch it down there. But you can see the deep culture of Labrador with our indigenous people there.
wow. Yeah. I bet it absolutely runs deep. I was just trying to catch some of these chats. If you guys have any questions for Jen, or if you're on Jen's
Yeah,
team,
because my
if you're one of
battery's going down
if
to
you're from
15%.
yeah, and if you're sorry, baby. If you guys want to jump on, I've confirmed you guys as friends. Listen, I'll send you the link on over. Steve, you all right with that, right, honey?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have more experience in that than I do. Just don't come in. Don't flash me, boys. Listen, I don't know what goes down over there across the water. I'm a Jersey. You see that? That's a real redhead. I'm a Jersey redhead. Don't be coming out here flashing people now. I got a delay button. I will come across that water. Don't make me come back there. I just say that because we've had some surprises on the show, have we not, Steve?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you never know what's gonna go. You never know what's gonna go down on the inner tubes. Let me see if I can get you on here. All right, let me see. We like to have a good time here on the show. Dan, did you send me one too? I don't know if you did. Let me see if I can get you up here. See if you can get. You have a messenger? Send me a message on Messenger to pop up here. I'll send you the link if you want to jump in. You don't have to do video if you don't want. If you've got a story, something that you guys are interested in that you feel good sharing, please do.
I'm just gonna pop off for a second.
Take all the time you need, sweetie. You go get you some hot tea or whatever.
Yeah, I just gotta plug in my phone.
Whatever you need. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. All right.
Johnny, are you out there?
I got Dan. Give me a second, Dan. I'm an old broad. Give me a minute. I'm pushing buttons. Okay, gotcha. There you go. Just pop in when you're ready. Oh, that would be wonderful. That'd be wonderful. I'd love to hear it. Anything about, wild and weird. Now, Steve, that boom, do you think that was, the ball energy kind of thing? Do you think that was more?
It seemed like it was kind of ball lightning, but on a very, very much grander scale than you hear about it. So it's been likened to an EMP blast or maybe an attack from somewhere out there.
Exactly. I don't know why. I got the flavor on it's 1978 in my mind, the way it's working. I'm sitting there trying to think of, it's feathering into like the Philadelphia experiment type of flavor to me, if you know what I mean. That's where my head was going. And I'm
10 megaton blast. That's a lot.
What's going on at the time? What were we doing over here? Like I said, USA, yada, yada. Listen, honey, I got stories, can't say them here. The inner tubes will shut me down for sure. We barely made it last night, and I'm trying to tell about Al Capone. You telling me that the inner tubes can't handle a Tommy gun and a couple of bullet holes inside of a car? They shut this whole thing down. But if you knew the stuff that they did allow on YouTube, you'd wonder, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop letting monkeys push buttons. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Danny, you ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to pop in here, darling.
Come on, Dan.
Oh, I got 2 thumbs up. He's more than ready. Hello, welcome on the show, bub. I'm Cisco. Pleased to meet you.
Hi, Dan.
Can you hear me, honey?
Hi, Dan.
Hey there. 1 second. I got to close out a tab because I'm hearing 3 times. Hey, Jen.
Okay, there you go. Take your time. Take your time.
Can you all hear me?
When you're ready. I got you. There's a slight delay, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Dan. He's on the bog
Pleased to meet you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Yeah, so
all right. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna push some more buttons. Keep going.
Sounds good. Jennnifer, you cool with me sharing those 3 stories I have from that
Oh,
hospital?
totally. Yeah, share away. All
right, sounds good. So the worst experience I had there, hands down, was it is what it is. It's at the Waterford Hospital, mental hospital here in Newfoundland. And I used to do security overnights up there on the forensic unit. And I can remember one night where because like this unit is shaped like a horseshoe. So you got the 2 rows of dorms around the nurse's office and then right to the front door. Where I sat was looking directly down the hallway on the left side. And I could see the cameras at the same time. So I think it was around like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, give or take. And we didn't have full capacity. And there was a doctor came out of one of the rooms, which I know was locked because I locked it. And he was wearing an old, almost like a lab coat. And he walked through a door, up the hallway, and through another locked door that led to another unit that was completely locked off, nothing but offices. So, of course, I'm looking down going, what the hell is that? The nurses inside the bubble, as we called it, watched me looking down, and they checked the camera. You couldn't see anything on the camera at all. But now, 2 minutes later, this same doctor walked back through a closed door and into the closed room again. Now, like I said, I could see the hallway and I could see the camera. He was in the hallway, but he wasn't on the camera. The fact aside that he walked through 2 shut doors, I mean, there was that. And I could have been tired. It was, like I said, it's a night shift. It sucks. It's 2:30 in the morning, but this went on for about 15 minutes of him walking back and forth through the doors, an empty room to a unit full of offices and back again. Now, I said the nurses were watching the camera. He wasn't there, but I was looking down this hallway and he looked pretty damn solid. I also found out afterwards that because of the Waterford's propensity for violent situations, lab coats and anything that can be grabbed are generally frowned upon, so they don't wear them anymore. So that put him back about 15 years. He shouldn't have been there wearing that coat at that time, walking through a solid door.
Yeah, that's definitely strange, Dan.
Right.
I really like the story you tell about the girl.
Which one? Oh, yeah. Okay. This wasn't actually at the hospital. This was at another building downtown, which I'm going to leave unnamed because I can't verify anything since I left. And we're talking, this was like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But
can I tap your brakes just for a second, sweetie? Let me ask you a question about the doctor, if I may. I'm sorry, I had my microphone was off, and I have paranormal Tourette's. I cannot help myself.
It's all good.
So I've got some questions. Absolutely, you saw it. I mean, you're on the right show. So my questions are: were there anything that the doctor did that would have shown you that he was aware of his surroundings? Like, did he look to his side and make eye contact with somebody? Was he just going about his business like he was, which was it?
He was literally, it was almost like he was on, you ever see a video game, you got the non-playable characters and they just kind of walk back and forth? That's all he was doing. Through one door, back on through. And that's all he was doing. And again, I got to stress, I could see him physically, but he was not showing up on the panel of cameras inside the office. And I could see both based on where I was sitting. He wasn't on camera, but he was down that hallway.
So we're thinking, is that like a residual rewind, Cisco, you're thinking?
Honey, at this point, I would say I shifted over to, Steve and I talk about, and again, if you bring Katie Turner and some of, these very wise physical mediums and trance mediums and, everything else, and you bring all that in, you'd have to open the door now to time slip, bleed overs, and welcome again, Taylor. I didn't mean to ignore you. I'm so sorry. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Jump in when you feel like. So you'd have to bring that in. You'd, of course, have to say stone tape theory, residual time, again, you could have been in a time slip. Maybe that's why I didn't pick up the camera. Maybe you went somewhere. You'd bring in all of these things, but it makes a big difference. Like, say he had come through the door, even though the doors weren't there. You hear all the time, if they're in their world, their vantage point, they're going to go with what they see, and that's what they're doing. And you just get to observe it for that moment in time. How many house stories you hear, ghosts in houses? She walked right through the wall. Well, there used to be a door, they removed it. Those kind of stories. So they're just continuing on. So many different things like that. Like the Roman soldiers story goes way back to Harry and the Roman soldiers. I think I have that right. My UK friends in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Please do. But he sees these. Have you heard this story, guys? The Roman soldiers, where he's a plumber working in, I guess, almost like a cellar basement type of thing in this old structure in the UK. Here's a trumpet. What's going on? He hears it again. He looks behind him, and all of a sudden he sees this horse head come through the stone wall. And then a whole platoon of Roman soldiers and horses and everything that would go with them. Romans coming back from a battle or whatever, at least a march. Yeah. And he could see them so well. He could see the 5 o'clock shadow on their face. He could see the grime, the sweat. He could, it was amazing, but they never looked at him. They never acknowledged his presence. So I believe Steve and some of my other friends basically came to that with, did he take a time slip? Did two of the, like a book with pages that the pages get a little wet and you see that the bleed over from the other pages coming through just for a moment, that could have been your experience. I don't know.
That sounds, I'm hard pressed to argue with you. It makes a lot of sense. And I've heard the story of the Roman soldier too. So I mean, that sounds entirely possible.
Similar. It's similar,
Yes.
But then you can make yourself really crazy, or if you want to go matrix wise and really bake your noodle, you could say, hey, are the steps coming down the stairs that I'm hearing the same time every day? Is it me haunting me from the future or the past or what, and you just really go, so you just got to kind of keep it open and just all the possibilities and then knock them out as organically as you can. Welcome aboard, Taylor. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you so much for having me on.
Hi, Taylor. Taylor's part of the Paranormal NL BOG team, boots on the ground.
Welcome.
I am the medium.
Oh, it's wonderful to meet you. It's wonderful to meet you. I hope you guys saw the little video I did. I hope I didn't overstep. I got crazy with the puffins. I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the feel and the color. I want one of those damn houses. I want one of those damn houses. What's a girl got to do? And Steve, if we started swimming now, Steve and I do this all the time. We'll say if we got on a bicycle, how long would it take us to get across? Do you think if I got to you, Steve, you build a raft? Would Nicole go with Mulder? Can we go? Can we?
Yeah, we'll just.
Do you think we could be welcome? Do we maybe get smuggled in? Who wants to go? We're building a raft. We're going.
Dan, you want to?
We're going to need a bigger boat.
I say it will take you 3 or 4 days.
There we go.
Sure.
I'm down. I'm down. I just don't want to go anywhere near the Titanic. How close are you guys to that?
Very
close enough.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
50 miles, 100 miles or something like that. It's not very far.
Wow.
We have a Titanic museum here, Steve.
Steve,
And that's where the what's the name of that thing that imploded?
Oh, that was the bugger. Yeah, that was. Hold on.
We made international news with that one.
Oh yeah, we did too.
That was just
that was really
sad and silly. People doing silly things
that was
with
too
much money and time.
Submersible.
Yeah, that's just nuts. It's just nuts. It's physics, for the love of God. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sorry. We don't want to speak ill of the dead here because on this show they come back and they tell us what for.
I know that Dan already shared a story. Taylor, do you want to share a little portion about what happened at our prelim investigation without divulging where it happened? You can mention you worked there, but they recognized him.
So I used to work there, and when we went there, I asked if they recognized me, and I said, if you do recognize me, can you light up my K2 meter? And soon as I said that, the K2 meter went off. As soon as I said that I feel them in here, there was orbs and everything in the room.
I'm pretty sure we got some of that on camera too, actually, Taylor. So I still got those. I still got the videos to upload, but I'm positive we got some of that on video.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of activity that night.
I lost every bit of my videos, but they're still on Dropbox. So
yeah. We're still piecing all that stuff together. But you guys got a lot of evidence that night. I mean, you got stuff out in the alleyway with the apps that y'all were using. Didn't you say, Dan, you heard footsteps and stuff too?
Yeah, so when I went outside the location and I sat down on the steps in the alleyway, I laid out a cigarette and a lighter and turned on the voice recorder. And when I started doing everything, I was sitting down on those steps. You heard clearly right behind me, and it was breathing right behind my ear. I got a copy of the audio clip saved on my phone now too, and I was already sitting down. I can't prove it because it's all audio, but I was sitting down, not moving, but somebody else was walking around me and breathing behind my ear.
Yeah, you got a lot of really good evidence there. And didn't you also get some evidence of it responding to another language? That was intriguing.
Oh, that was. Well, I tried my language at first because I'm originally born and raised in Oslo, Norway. And I moved here when I was at 5 years old. And then our other investigator tried French, Canadian French. And it lit, the K2 meter lit up soon as she started speaking French.
Yeah. So there's other ways to communicate with them in different languages.
Absolutely. And also without using your voice at all, because, you know, as you guys well know, they know your intent before you ever get there if they have the power to pick it up. And, you know, like I said earlier, Steve and I were talking about the telepathic ability of all of these things. I'm hearing stories and interviewing people that are telling me about the dogmen and how they're picking up intent. I can go back to 1970 and give you stories about aliens that came down, and, you know, police officers that showed up, pulled a revolver, and they just basically, without moving it, almost the officer would say almost by thought or by will, heated the gun to the point he couldn't hold on to it and dropped it, you know, and then just went on about their business. And he's standing there in a stunned manner. We're hearing these stories all along through the decades. How far back do you want to go? We've sat here on this show, and Steve and I have both showed old documentaries, 1974, with 5 guys sitting around a picnic table talking about their 25-year experience. So how far back now are we going? It's the same stuff we're saying now. The Bigfoot prints, the you know, Yahweh, all of the tribal names for basically people. And we still got people debating, and we still have people about, you know, debating about ghosts. And I love the fact that in my lifetime and Steve's lifetime, you know, y'all are youngins, you know, but but you know, it's
feel
like
very young.
Yeah. But you know, you spend all those decades and you get to this point, and I'm so glad we're here, where I'm talking to new groups gathering together, bringing in the tech, the sensitivity, and all of it together to try to get the real story. And people are actually going back. That pendulum has swung back to the Hans Holzer days of going in and just handling and helping the ghost. You know, here I say ghosts and spirits have already crossed or visitated or whatever.
We're hoping to figure out who the difference at that place, because there's rumors of 3 different ones, but we're getting all the historical parts. But our other team member, J2, took a different route, which I thought was interesting. She didn't want to know any of the history, which I think is great, actually, now that I think about it, because that leaves you unbiased when you go in, right? So look at the history later. There's people do that technique sometimes too, where they don't want to look at any of the history, but other people want to look at it and use the names and use the dates, but other people don't. So they know that, oh, that was that person who I was talking to then.
That's fabulous too. And you can think about that as, this is why you need a team. It's the whole point of team. You know, it's just like whatever task you're doing and you have a team getting together, that's it right there. So you can basically have somebody in that team that is interested in the research and the historical part of it, and hold that knowledge and keep that data, you know. And then the mediums that go in, they want to go in clean, like Katie Turner and so many, Rob. I mean, most of the people I know want that. They don't want to know where they're going. Again, going back to the Hans Holzer with the Sybil Leek and the Ethel Myers and the trance mediums he used, right, Steve? Yeah. He would pick them up at the airport, just take them in. It's a no nonsense approach. He had that very Austrian kind of demeanor about him. We're going in here. This is what we're doing. Why are you still here? You know, he's talking to the ghost through her, trance medium. Fantastic. Very taxing on a medium. Mediums do not get enough credit on how physical taxing and how downright, they can get extremely infirmed. Am I correct, Tyler? Absolutely draining. Steve and I, similar, and we're, we just got our,
Yeah,
our little
they
stuff
were
you know,
draining the batteries too. Hey, Dan and Taylor.
it
Not
drains
only
all
were
of
they
us.
draining Taylor, but they were draining the
Very-
batteries and everything.
They were draining me as well because a couple days after I got sick,
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
J2 literally, God love her heart, bought me Advil day and night and like Gatorade and stuff.
You had to replenish. And see, that's the whole thing too. Again, talk to Rob Gutcher. I talk to all the people and find out what they do before they go in. Steve won't even go into a hotel room or anything else without his crystals, without cleansing the place, right? Steve, tell everybody why, just to
Yeah,
reiterate, because
absolutely.
we have listeners that are just
depletes your
beginning,
energy, and if
and
you're
then we got
empathic, it drains you. And any type of senior center, children's hospitals, anywhere like that, if you're not prepared and you're like we are, and you go in there, it's like you're under a psychic attack.
Now, Dan, you've got protection that you wear.
Yeah. Actually, without fail, it never comes off.
That's great.
Actually, and it's kind of applies to you, Taylor. I didn't know you were from Norway. But what I was, it's actually an axe from the Isle of Skye in Scotland. And on the back,
it's wonderful.
Has a whole bunch of runes carved from like relating to Odin and protection and whatnot. And
that's awesome.
2 years ago, I put this on. It has never, ever come off.
I got one too. Do y'all want to hear the story? Should I tell it, Steve?
Get drained, right, Dan? But
whoops, wait a minute, it's the wrong one. It's my tourmaline. Go ahead, Jen.
But Taylor, did you have protection on that night? You got drained, right? Dan
got drained.
Oh God, if that's going, I'm in trouble. No,
and I had this on.
What do you got? Oh, okay. Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Wait a minute, I keep lifting the wrong one. That's my green adventuring. I've got all these. Look, I've got crystals and cages around my neck.
But I'm
this one right here. This was actually. Can you see it? It's a solid silver crucifix. It was actually gifted to me by the ghosts and spirits in Gettysburg Cemetery on Halloween night on the 150th anniversary of the battle in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
It's an incredible story. And it comes full circle. The whole thing is, look, I hate to say this, but the whole thing is in my book because it's an extremely detailed chapter that tells about the Gettysburg chapter, right? Steve and I wrote a book together. We were all children in the wilderness of the afterlife. It's just a guide that's worth through my haunted life. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you the fast version. And we do this impromptu 3-day romp to Gettysburg with my sons. I have 2 adult sons.
Yeah.
So we go and we're doing Halloween night in Gettysburg for love of Pete. As I'm like losing my mind as an ex-military and stuff like this. I love Gettysburg. But how many battlefields did I pass to get to Gettysburg? There's a calling, it's a deep calling there. Yeah. So anyway, I go, and one of the things we did before we went on this like tour or whatever, like midnight on Halloween night, I go to the cemetery, and as a soldier, I go in and I do my quick stuff because these are my brothers, and I wind up on this monument that is to all unknown soldiers in every war that we were involved in. So it's going way back. It's going way back. It's like a slice of pie, and you can walk up in the middle of it and look at all of them. And while I'm standing there, I can feel at least 3 ghosts in front of me, different energies, male energies, very, very sad, very downtrodden. Taylor, very, I know you can pick up on this too, very, I didn't do enough. I almost survivor guilt kind of deal. If you get my drift, and here it is, he's a ghost, but he's got survivor guilt. I'm having a hard time putting this together, but it's all very quick. So the only thing I know to do quickly to break up this energy and to try to inject some peace into it is to say that and then offer a prayer. So I do the Lord's Prayer and I send it out And I just do my little thing and, you know, basically try to relieve them for duty and say, look, you do not have to stay here. Please carry on, you know, and I say my little spiel and I turn around and I go. It's just about dusk. They're just about to lock these big old metal, beautiful gates that they have. And I'm trying to hightail it out of there. My sons are looking at a map that I drew. You could see it was beautiful. You could see the beautiful fall leaves blowing down the dark streets. Couldn't have been more perfect if you tried. And I feel somebody behind me and I feel a hand on my shoulder. Right away, my mind thinks it's a guard trying to push me out of the gate faster, right? And I see my son reach down into the leaves and pick up something and look at his hand and kind of look towards me. At the same time, I feel it. And I look at my son and I turn around to say, I'm leaving. Don't worry, I'm going. Nobody's there. Come back, and my son's headed towards me. He's got something in his hand. And he says to me, because he's got stuff too, they said, this is for you. And it's this cross. Shoot forward about 3 years. I'm at a class for ability training, you know, mediums sit down. And one of our tasks was to bring in an object, put it in an envelope, don't put your name on, put it on the table. Great little energy thing. Taylor, try it. It's wonderful. Psychometry. Somebody doesn't know you holds it and tries to guess what's in the envelope. I get the teacher. I get the medium. Good friend of mine. She doesn't know what's in the envelope. I forgot to do my homework and just pulled something on my neck and stuck it in the envelope. This cross. She's looking at me. She says, tell me I'm not going crazy. I'm like, Barb, I can't do that. What's up? And I'm not saying anything else. She goes, all right, it's a cross. It means something to you. She goes, but this is so weird. I said, what do you mean? She goes, I'm seeing all these men in uniforms standing around.
Way.
And she says, I don't see any connection. Like he's your dad or your uncle or brother. And they're not telling me that they. And she went, oh, my Lord. And she holds it to her chest. And if you knew this lady, she was a wonderful old English woman. She says, oh, my Lord. She goes, I'm going to sound crazy. Barb, say it. And she says, it was a gift for your protection. They knew what you were going to do that night. They gave it to you as a gift from spirit. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Mind blown.
Never comes off my neck.
Pretty
Yeah.
Never
cool.
comes off my neck.
Pretty cool
That's
story.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess.
And they will do stuff like that when you're open. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
this subject is the most wild subject you'll ever get. The paranormal, metaphysical, supernatural, you know, and you can throw all the mystery and the true crime and everything in with it because it helps you discern. It helps you sort things. It helps you take puzzle pieces that have no business being together without the cover to the box.
Well, the metaphysical is a very important portion of it. And I think that's why we do have a lot of mediumship people on the show and other people who delve into the other light and also sometimes the dark oddities, right?
see, I would love to just experience something like that because, as you know, Jennnifer, everything I've ever seen has just been like I've been played with. I've never had any one-on-one, like the cross, prime example. I've only ever felt like I've been played with or following something, but I've never had anything directed at me, right?
Directly interrupt
So
you.
cool.
I've had things like physically touch me and wake me up out of a deep sleep and feel something hitting your face or something trying to grab your hand, something sitting on the bed. Doing things when you ask it to do, right on point, intelligently, asking it to turn on or off the light or on or off the TV. And this was not in my home. I don't have things like that in my home. I always cleanse my home and say there's only love and light allowed in. And I like to keep it that way and not bring things home. But you never know what you're going to bring home.
Are you channeling somebody, sweetheart?
I
Is he
think
channeling
Taylor's
somebody?
shouting out to somebody.
You're not going into a trance live out here on the inner tubes, are you? Just
No.
heads up. You can if you want. I just like a little
Mute
heads up.
yourself, Taylor.
Here, do you want me to bring you with? I'll bring you with me.
Oh
No,
gosh, where are we
no,
going?
no, no.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Where are we going?
Don't go to the bathroom.
Bathroom. 'Cause I
No.
heard-
Oh my God.
I heard
No.
a voice right there.
Oh, you
What
heard
happened?
of what?
I heard a voice.
Oh goodness. Here we go, Steve. Look,
Yeah.
we've thrown icebergs. Steve, can you?
Okay,
This is
now the
close
nurse
to-
in me is coming out. Didn't I just see you take a draw?
Oh, wow, draw.
Dan, you're laughing.
I am, because as soon as this is done, that's exactly what I'm doing.
What? Don't get on me now. Don't get on me. I gave up everything else. This is all I got left. You'll have to fight me to the bone for it.
I'm right there with you, girl.
I give up everything else, man. This and cussing's all I got left. Don't be evil to an old woman.
Oh, well, I feel
Steve,
that.
tell them the Titanic story. That's the closest we ever got to Newfoundland. But tell Steve and I have a thing. It's crazy.
Well,
Go
we
ahead.
got to
Tell.
you, Steve. We got to teach you how to say Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
I won't be able to
Say
do it.
new, then fun, like it's fun,
No.
and then land.
Newfoundland.
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 Newfoundland. There, I got it.
Defense, that really depends on which part of the island you're
I
from.
love it. Holy crap, boys.
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
I got it.
Newfoundland.
I'll work it out. I'll
Or
work
like
it out.
A new fin and a land. What do you say, Dan?
Newfoundland. Wait, no, I don't. Holy shit, I slur it. When I pronounce it to my friends in Ontario, it's Newfoundland. When I say it, it comes out like Newfoundland. Like I don't use any E's. So
Sorry, Steve. That's just one of the things that us Newfoundlanders drives us bonkers when we hear people internationally.
For the love of God, is there a nickname? What do y'all call it?
Newfies.
Newfies.
Newfies? Can I just say,
people up on the
am I allowed to
mainland,
say that, or is it like
there's a debate
Newfies
about
is
that.
a white Native American from Jersey can't get away with saying that word? I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get banned and exiled before I ever get a chance to cross the river.
the only word I would not recommend using is if you come here and you go to one of the outport towns, don't say Baywap.
Bayhoo? Did he say Baywatch?
Baywap.
Baywatch. Okay.
Baywap.
I won't say any of those.
I've never used that one before. Now we got to tell you guys, Steve and Cisco, all over Newfoundland, there's different dialects in every town. I'm sure
Right.
you've heard of dildo with what's his name? Jimmy, not Fallon. Jimmy.
No, it was Jimmy
Jimmy
Fallon.
Kimmel.
Kimmel.
Jimmy
There you
Kimmel.
go.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear it. He's a what? What did you
He's the
call him?
honorary.
He's a dildo.
He's honorary mayor of Dildo in Newfoundland.
Oh wow.
Yep. True
Okay.
story, man.
I'm not going to touch that one. I can pronounce. Steve has got to tell you about this because it was so funny as far as the Titanic and everything else. And we take Titanic very seriously. I'll tell you, I don't know if you've ever seen the orbs that dance above the wreckage and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys can see from, where you are, but so many, my heart breaks. And there's so many connections to the Titanic. My family, I actually think my son was reincarnated from it. I mean, we could talk, but Steve's got a funny story about him and I being on the show one night. Tell it, Steve.
Yeah, we didn't even know what we were going to talk about that night, and you messaged me. You said while you're in the shower, it came to you, Titanic. I said, okay, we'll do the Titanic. So we came on. We were talking about all the circumstances around the Titanic, and I've seen the Titanic exhibit in Las Vegas, and then there used to be one in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. I'm originally from East Tennessee, and the moment and we compared this with the 911 call, the timestamp on it. The moment we mentioned the one in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, an iceberg that they had there, it was they had pipes with I don't know if they had something going through there to freeze this, and they had an actual iceberg in there that you could touch and feel. Well, the minute we mentioned that exhibit, the thing collapsed and sent 5 people to the hospital. Nobody was seriously injured, thank goodness. But then we compared the moment, the second that we mentioned that exhibit, the iceberg there collapsed. So we have little, I don't believe in coincidence, but there are synchronicities that happen like that. So many times we've just in passing talked about a famous person or a music artist on one show, and then by the
next day,
they will
graveyard dead.
Yeah. The only one we can't touch is Yoko Ono, but we did kick her out.
We
of the
keep
show, I
trying.
think.
Yoko, we love Yoko.
Yeah, well,
Yes. I've got to take off, but thank you.
Meatloaf. We were talking about Meatloaf and his connection to the JFK assassination, and then by the next week he'd passed away. So
Yeah,
it
that one
happens
hurt.
a lot.
Bad out of hell. Dan, did you say you had to go, sweetheart?
Yes, I got to take off, so I want to thank you for having me. And
Thank
I'd
you
love
for
to
coming on.
thanks, Dan.
anytime.
I
always.
love the story about the, and again, in all seriousness, that's how I would have to break that down. I'm no expert. I've only been doing this like about 50 years, and I'm still no closer to the truth than anybody else. But from my experience, I would say that you witnessed a residual, and that's probably why the cameras weren't picking it up. And it was like Steve often says, there's a possibility, Dan, that was just for you. So what I would do is, these things usually go very deep. I would think back also in that day and what was going on in your life at the time, because a lot of times ghosts will attach or show up for one person in the room, because that ghost recognizes, Tyler, you would agree with this, an energy that you're going through that they're going through at the same time. So say like a breakup, and they just broke up, and that's why they, unlived themselves in the, the hall closet or whatever. And they picked up on that, or, so think back on that. When you start thinking about these cases like that, sometimes EVPs you pick up. Again, we always talk about, you go to a barn and you pick up an EVP. Okay, it could be a ghost in a barn, but it could also be an EVP of somebody that followed you in. So we really have to learn how to unpack it all, because usually when we have an experience like that, we've had so much more than we know we had at the time. And you look back a decade later and you go, wow.
That's some really good advice.
Jennnifer mentioned, I got other stories, and
He does.
Come back and say, come back again and tell them you're more than welcome. Pleasure to meet you, Dan. Thanks for coming in.
Nice meeting you.
Likewise. Thank you. I'll be talking to all you soon. Stay safe.
Bye, Dan.
Bye. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, Dan. Everybody in chat, send them bacon. Let them leave with a parting pound of bacon. There you go. Sugar cured.
Well, I'm gonna have to peace out soon too, because I gotta
sweetie.
work in the morning. It's 11:15 here in Newfoundland right now.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming in, Jen. And tell everybody again where we can find you. My mods are going to drop your links. Where do you want us to go look for?
Okay, if you're looking for a Paranormal NL podcast, go to Spotify. I will be reaching out to bigger international audiences soon besides the Spotify. But if you want to join Paranormal NL on Facebook, we like to have kind of fun on there with silly stuff, but also talk a lot about different things or try to debunk different things. So come on over and join us. We'd love to have you.
I love this too, and I was so excited that you're a fresh new group, coming together, bringing your experiences together and going about it the way you're doing it, because you're also now going to be a part of my paranormal chain. Steve and I both can reach out. We're like that thing in H.P. Lovecraft, aren't we, Steve? I forget the name of it. Had all those tentacles, very much like a kraken, paranormal kraken, because people call up and go, "Listen, I've got an active case. I'm just, where are you? I'm in North Carolina." Well, okay, where in North Carolina? I'm here. Okay, and now we can look back and go, "I got a group there. You're going to be getting a call." So we'd love to put you in there when you get going and you're accepting cases and things like that. We now have someone in Newfoundland.
By all means. Now, Cisco, you've been on the Paranormal NL show. That means you're now in the Paranormal NL network. So
proud to be here.
Steve, I really would like to have you in the alumni network also.
Okay, absolutely.
Reach out to me on Messenger, and I can hook you up with a show. And anybody else who's listening from anywhere else in the world.
There you go. Drop her stuff, honey. Thank you.
Reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. I'm Jennnifer Vallis Noseworthy. I'm your host with Paranormal NL. And you can also reach out to me on the Facebook page with Paranormal NL. But if you're looking directly to chat with me on Messenger, I'll respond to you. We also have an email at paranormal.nl. podcast@gmail.com. Now we're also working on a merch store, so when you go
wonderful
on Facebook, don't go to the merch store, go to the Paranormal NL podcast page to join us
there. You go. And she's got some great art over there too. The name of the artist again, sweetie. It's a beautiful pic.
Robert Dumont. He's the one
wonderful.
who did our digital art. So he's a
That's
cool
awesome.
cat too. And he knows John Mallard. They used to work
Yeah.
together many
Oh
moons ago.
wow, small
Yeah.
world. See,
Yeah.
guys, this is what I tell all my everybody in here. Tell you're part of it too. You come on in here, come in this chat, because what we try to do is put light out in the world. We always talk about the shamans walking in the darkness. Listen, if I'm going to get advice from somebody on a situation that is turning my life upside down, I want people that have been in the darkness, that are warriors and found their way out and live to tell about it and can help teach others and help guide others. And that's what this whole show is about, gatekeepers and guiding people along their journey. Sometimes they always ask, why's my guardian angel let me hit the tree? And I'm like, honey, sometimes you got to hit the tree. So we're trying to sort it out just like you guys. Thank you so much, Jen, for coming. Tyler, you want to stay in the last 10 minutes here with us?
Sure.
Are you good? All right. Thank you, Jen, for coming
Jen,
in. And
nice meeting you.
over.
I joined your group and sent you a friend request, so we'll be in
There
touch.
you go. Get on her
Okay,
show.
we'll be in touch with you.
Steve's going to need a couple episodes
Take
now.
care,
I mean, he's the king of almost podcasting here. He's got so many different podcasts and books and wonderful stories. You're going to have a ball.
These things in the woods.
There you go.
World. I got a bunch.
Okay, we're going to have to talk about those, Steve.
Just wrote my 20th book last year, so
20.
a lot to talk about.
Congratulations. So
He's something else. He's on fire lately. I'm telling you, no holding back, nor do we want to. Thank you, Jen, so much for coming in, and we appreciate
Thanks so
you being
much,
here.
Cisco. We really appreciate you. Thanks, Taylor.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.
There you go. Good night, everybody. All right, there you go. So
I also have a YouTube channel myself.
Please tell us.
So I have 2.19K subscribers. My YouTube channel is called Taylor Hand Vlogs.
Okay.
I do paranormal on there. I do vlogs, anything like that, but mostly paranormal.
Uh-huh.
I had it since I was 2014, and I've been a medium since I was 2 years old.
Like you, Steve.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Taylor Hand Vlogs, right? I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to you with both of
Get in there.
My two biggest channels.
It's wonderful. And Steve does a lot of, he's, like I said, he is absolutely, oh, there you go. We got it. Thank you, guys.
Yep,
can you drop that link, mods, if you can pick it up? There's Steve's, and
I subscribe to Among the Missing, and I'll
fun.
subscribe again with Missing Persons Mysteries.
You want me to send you the link to my channel?
Sure. And I'll drop it in the chat. Absolutely. I'll put it in the description as well, Taylor. So let me ask you this while I got you for a few more minutes. And everybody, stick in here if you can, because I'm going to go ahead and play the little 4-minute New Zealand video again for anybody who didn't get to see it, because I really want you to understand what we're talking about tonight. It's an absolutely beautiful place. And I want to learn more about it. And thanks, sweetie. And really dive into the history. We're going to have everybody back again, if they're willing to come back on, and really dive down deep into the history and some of these things. And maybe you guys can share some of the investigations you complete and can share, because here's the thing. People are the same everywhere. We on this channel, we've delved back 100 years, ago, and talked about what was scaring people in 1923 here. And, with all of the research and everything through the true crime and Villisca axe murder and Lizzie Borden and everything we've dug into, Abraham Lincoln, for Pete's sake, people are the same. Ghosts are the same, not to each other, same as us. So when you're going into a place, Steve and I talk about all the time, it's all about intent. They know it before you get there. And if it's something that's got a lot of energy and a lot of negative intent, whether it was ever human before or not, these things know. So one of the number one things I can tell you, as an old bag myself, I can tell you that the number one thing you're going to have to do in this group is get everybody to do their protection ahead of time, whether it's like Rob Guttrow, his group eats chocolate, and everybody does, to raise your endorphins and raise your vibration. We have a huge, big intro when we come into this show for the same reason. Raise your vibration, change your frequency. Sing songs. Steve uses crystals, salt in your pocket, prayer, protection prayer, all of that as a group going in and then coming back out again. Number one, most important thing, don't ever forget it, because you can get excited and get ready to leave. And then people call me and want me to send a crew over there to unsort all the shit because their kids are floating around in the kitchen, or their dog is crawling upside down on the ceiling, or some kind of mess. So, listen, I've dealt with all kind of people with, stuff like, gosh, we've got stories for months, but it's the little things where somebody goes in and they're kicking indoors and they're provoking and they're doing this and they're doing that, and picking up stuff or doing something stupid like, we're going to go talk to where all the serial killer buried all the bodies and all the victims and see if we can pick up any information. And the next thing you know, somebody in the house is on an IV on the living room couch. I mean, true story. Because as well as I do, Taylor, listen, if they're still here, they're still like they were before they left.
That's true.
So give us a story on the way out. What is your favorite, your experience that just solidified for you or changed your mind on something?
It was down in Argentia. It's an old U.S. Navy base in Placentia Bay, Newfoundland. So I was down there one night with cadets, because I used to be in cadets. And we're up in the woods doing our
conflict.
Doing our what do you call it? Overnight thing.
Right.
So out of nowhere, I got out of my tent to go use the washroom. I heard a noise over to the side. I never told anyone this. I never even told Jen yet, but heard a noise over to the side. There was, I don't know, it's like, how can I explain this? It looked like it was 7 foot tall, black mass. And then there was another figure, but it had an army suit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked like that and looked back, gone.
Now, you didn't see it dissipate? You didn't see it dematerialize? It was just like you looked back, it was gone. So it's split second. So what do you think, Steve? Something stirred up by the activity and just seeing what was going on?
To me, or just checking in.
Hey, Ghost, welcome in. Okay, we have dropped. That's amazing. You're going to have a lot of, you're going to have a lot ahead of you. I'm telling you right now.
Conflict Radio's in the chat too.
I see him. Hey, my friend, how you doing, Conflict? Conflict's gonna come on with me here in a couple weeks. I don't know if we set on a date, but he's coming on, and we're gonna talk about some stuff. And I suggest you go ahead and start making your custom design tinfoil hats, because you're going to need them for the stuff we're going to talk about. But and possibly just for protection. You never know. We might cause an EMT or something. Steve, if you want to come on too, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I'd like to be on that one. Love Conflict Radio.
I do too.
Hey,
It's going to be an interesting. Hey, Ghost Lord, welcome in. Well, I'll tell you what, Taylor, it's been wonderful to meet you. Thanks for coming in. And keep us posted on what you guys are doing. We're friends now. You're part of the paranormal chain. I'm excited. The group's going to get together and go, do the things. But the main thing that I can suggest, again, the protection of going in and coming out. Don't ever let anybody break that chain. Just think Fleetwood Mac, never break the chain.
Definitely. Maybe someday we'll come to New Jersey and we'll all do an investigation together.
Well, I'm going to start building that raft. Me and Steve, I'm serious. So I'm gonna bike it over to from New Jersey to where Steve is, and then we're gonna build a raft and we're gonna float all over there, motor the cats, everybody. You're just gonna have to take us in and give us a plat on the floor till we get ourselves up. It will be fun. I'll tell you what, making that video and seeing these beautiful places, these beautiful little houses, and the wonderful rock, the structure, the landscape, I just don't know if I can handle the cold.
But when you
It
do
gets pretty chilly.
you come here, yes, during the winters it's cold and during the summers it's cold, but when the sun comes out, it's almost 99 degrees here.
Yeah. Yeah, rough winters though. But you know, it reminds me of the old Stephen King, Storm of the Century, and all of those. But you're kind of up in that area too, aren't you, Steve? I'll tell you what. I had a taste of snow when I was in Detroit, Michigan. I was in the 3rd grade and I had to walk to school in that day. I just like I had my fill. And then doing basic in Fort Dix in the wintertime. That did it for me. I don't ever want to be cold again. I'm like Scarlett O'Hara with just made my dress out of the drapes with the big old hat. It's like, I promise myself I will never be chilly again.
Yeah, I just looked on Google Maps. I'm 1,377 miles from Newfoundland. So,
Oh my goodness. Well, we
definitely a road trip there.
we better lard up too. We need to lard up to protect our skin while we're going to go on through that. Maybe we'll go some whale peeping or something along the way. I'll tell you what, I would love to go. I absolutely would love to go. I'm falling in love with the place. I think it's wonderful. I used to watch. Let me ask you before you go. I used to watch a show. It was on Hulu or something else. Picked it up. It had several seasons, and it was based in St. John. And it was like a police detective, a family, you know, and the ne'er-do-well guy that keeps getting in trouble. But great, his stepmom is beautiful redhead, and he was just a guy in a leather jacket, and he was always stumbled into trouble, but wound up solving whatever. What was it?
Republic of Doyle.
That was it. I love that show.
I'm
Yes.
also an actor, by the way.
Oh, are you?
I'm on Son of a Critch, Hudson the Rex, Surreal Estate, and Republic of Doyle.
Oh, wonder, is it really? Oh my goodness. Now, how many seasons did that have? Go watch his show. You're going to love it. It's quirky. It's fun. I love the family. I love the whole thing about it, but it's more down to earth. It's not cheesy. You know what I mean? And how many seasons did that thing have?
Well, I was only a kid.
Uh-huh.
I'm 25 now.
Uh-huh.
I was only, 12.
Uh-huh. So yeah, so it goes back a little bit, but I think it ran a couple like 3 or 4 seasons or something like that. It was worth watching. It's fun, but it really gives you that inside look at St. John's and how these little houses look, and it's just as beautiful as you see in the video, man. It's really neat. So thank you for that, because that one's been getting me for about 3 days. Republic of Doyle. Ain't that something that you were on it? So look at that. There's some of that serendipity, Steve.
Yep.
All right, guys. Listen, I think it's time we're going to say goodnight. We're going to shut this old mule down, and I highly recommend you stick around and watch the video. And right before it, I made a special one for you guys, for the light keepers, the people that are keeping the lights on out there. Throw your light out into that darkness. I'm telling you what, it's not dark anymore. That's the whole thing we're talking about. Shamans go in and they carry their light with them. That's what you guys are doing in this week till we get back together again. And I did this one for you. I hope you like it. Steve, I love you. Any parting words for the company?
Keep looking to the skies.
There you go.
And peeking under the stairs. There's all kinds of stuff out there.
Thanks so much
Taylor,
for being
nice
here.
meeting you.
You're welcome.
Pleased to meet you. We're friends now. And your friend of the show. Chat love to everybody. Thanks for coming on, my friend.
No problem. Thank you for having me, and God bless.
God bless everybody.
Bless.
Stick around, and then after this, we'll do the Newfoundland video. Good night, everybody.
Day we are together again. On the day we are together again, I will pull you in close like a hoop with no end. On the day we are together again, we will share the same table again. We will share the same table again. I will pass you the salt, the candlelight will bend when we share the same table again. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We passage that survives somehow. I will write you a letter for now. I will help the strangers I meet. I will help the strangers I meet. It is possible to get back on our feet. I will help the strangers I meet. To the healers who keep us alive. To the healers who keep us alive. A toast to your courage, knowledge and light. To the healers who keep us alive. And the ones we love who are gone. And the ones we love who are gone. We remember the stories and we sing the songs for the ones we love who are gone. And on the day we are together